You're actually the first people from the hair world that we've met over here, and what a duo to meet.
That was crazy how you reached me through the message. Like my first thought was like, how you know that I'm in Bali? You know, like message from nowhere, like, oh, are you in Bali? Like, can we play a pedal tomorrow? I'm like, how does he know? And then I put it on my profile on the bio, so then kind of makes sense. And then we played a pedal. So you reached like that, and it was crazy. There was Roland there, and he said that life sometimes doesn't feel right. Like it's like illusion, and it was exactly like a year a day since we first time met.
So a bit of a backstory, a year to the day pretty much.
Yeah.
It was like maybe the day or like one day out. We met at the Barber Bash at the Big Penny Social, and we all were judging the Barber of the Year competition. And here we are a year later in Bali together. Could have never called it.
That's surreal, and especially after us chatting about meeting up in Dam or England, and doing kind of what we're doing now, but probably would have been in the rainy streets of Amsterdam.
Very grey, very rainy. Yeah.
Cool thing that it didn't happen. You know, one of them ones that in the moment was a bit like, didn't get time or didn't work out, but always works out for the better.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think there's lots of correlations and cool things that we can kind of talk about today, like lots of different mindsets and philosophies and like ways of looking at life. And you know, all of us have come through the hair industry, but now we're moving to like different projects and like working on different things and creating this super cool life that we have for ourselves here, based on the back of some core principles and philosophies and like I think just ways of thinking and ways of being. And when we were talking about like what are we going to speak to the guys about today, like I think where people will get most value out of a conversation like this is in the way that we think. You know, Charlie, you and I have had a lot of conversations in the last few days, and even on the first day that we met, where we were just like, how fucking easy is this whole thing? You know, if you just apply yourself and like just do it. Like don't overthink it, just do it. Look for the space, same way in paddle, look for the space, don't make mistakes, be consistent.
All on the court, leave it all on the pitch.
Yeah, in anything that you do, right? And I think there's correlations between all of our lives that we can probably relate to when it comes to that.
And the first correlation we need to address is how the hell we all look so similar. What's going on?
You're just like the
and now I'm diagonal across him as well. It's a bit freaky to be honest.
It's a Black Mirror episode, right?
This is what we could have been. Like.
But no, this is wait. We'll get back to that one.
We'll circle back to that. Back to that.
No, but it's true though. The correlations are kind of crazy. Like obviously, looks-wise, it's a little bit uncanny, but the backgrounds and the paths that we've kind of all of us gone through. You know, us starting off in the sports background, and then you guys kind of doing hair, but then progressing into the content and the creative side of things. It is pretty cool that you know we've had similar-ish backgrounds, and now we're sat here. I don't know who's got the better view.
I would say like all of us.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you look in this country.
Worse, I would say like any view is just like insane over here. So
So true.
depends which lens you're using for the view.
And what lens made that be, Martin?
My 35 millimeters. Good for portraits.
Yeah. And the diagonal answer?
Oh, we're on 50 millimeters at the moment. We're filming on 50 millimeters, by the way, so I hope you're okay with that.
I am perfectly okay. Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
I think a lot of young people, particularly barbers, will probably watch this though, and like yes, there's beautiful views everywhere, right? But I think what's important to kind of highlight is the fact that like it doesn't just happen overnight either. You know, a lot of the time people like us, we don't share the 6-7 hours or 6-7 days a week. Fucking
6-7 hours sounds like a holiday.
yeah 12-14 hours, 16-hour days, like working in a barbershop or whatever it is. And you guys have had quite the journey, you know, being in Amsterdam together. That's where you met, right? It was in Amsterdam. I remember when we met first, you were like working on some stuff after work, and I don't know, was it you, Charlie?
16 hours was like the daily rate of our working hours for like, what, month probably? When we just wake up, work from 10 to 8, meet at 9, and from 9 shoot to like 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah. I remember you saying that 2 a.m. you're editing stuff and like making videos and
Yeah.
Literally from month and a little bit more on end, having models sat because how can we film online content? We're working in the shop 5 days. We were teaching 2 days. When can we film? Evenings. And then we had models that would sit in a chair from 9 till or 10 till 1 in the morning, and the model would be falling asleep. And me and Martin would be there somehow still just buzzing with the energy from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, an important part to touch on. You know, this whole tiredness thing. You know, people always say, how are you guys still got the energy? Well, you find it. You find it through passion, you find it through purpose. And, you know, that drives so much further than what I believe people think. And I think one thing that I learned early from Martin, which is a very weird thing that everyone around was like, what? Is you look on his phone, and he had at one point Arabic time on his phone. Now he's got some random
still
signs
there.
on his phone. Yeah, show the camera as well.
oh wow,
It's
And-
just,
time is
Yeah.
an illusion.
it's just time, you know, like what was time someone just created to just use some sort of like split something. But if you do and if you work on something what you love, there's just no time, you know. Like one thing what I really hate with the people is like being somewhere enjoying like nights out or dinner or whatever, and everyone's just like controlling the time. I'm like, why would you do that? There's just something going. You there, be in the present, and that's going on. What Charlie said is, yeah, we didn't think about what is time, what time is we should go home or we should sleep. No, we just really enjoyed the fact that we are now here and in still young age, while you have the energy and the passion for it, why we wouldn't do it. Like one thing for me definitely is seeing myself in 10 years and thinking, oh, that time in Amsterdam I had everything, like the energy, the time, and I wouldn't do it. I will feel ashamed for myself, you know, because then obviously obligation, family, and whatever is coming to your life, and the time thing is smaller, so you even don't have that much energy. And then, yeah, the regret feeling, I think, is the worst where you can feel inside of not doing stuff. That's why we just like, yeah, sleep. Why like 6 hours of sleep daily is all right. So jump to bed, sleep, wake up, and just run, you know. Just do whatever feels the best in the time. And in our time was just create as much as possible. Do as much as possible for ourselves.
It's all the cliches, and the cliches are there for a reason, right? You know, when you truly just want something, you go get it. And like what we started this off with, you know, you leave it all on the table. And why the hell not? You know, you're here, you're now, you're in the present. We always refer back to one of our favorite quotes, and it's from Kung Fu Panda. It's from Master Oogway. So yesterday is history, tomorrow is the mystery, and today is the gift, and that's why it's called the present. And really, when you live through that and give everything you possibly can in whatever a day is. We laughed about it like a week ago about the jet lag thing, getting here. And there was no other thought process for me. Like my parents also asked me, they were like, Charlie, how are you going to deal with the jet lag? I was like, oh, I'm not going to get it. You know, I'm like, how? I was like, well, I'm going to get there. And then as Martin coincided and said, when it's dark, sleep. When it's light, be awake. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And 10 coffees a day.
And lots of caffeine.
Yeah, I think like in order to kind of do that effortlessly, like we're very similar in a way that when we just need to do shit, we'll do it. Like we can do the 20-hour days if we need to. And if it's something that we want, right? Like I think it's ultimately you just go after shit if you want it. But I think it takes having a bigger vision and like the fundamental foundations of that is belief. Like if you don't believe that one day you can get to be in beautiful places like this or be in Bali and have an online business and turn a skill that is a brick and mortar skill of cutting hair into something that gives you like actual freedom. A lot of people will throw the freedom word around but they're stuck behind the chair, and they're like we just spoke about the golden handcuffs, you know, like they have this idea in their head that just because they get to create freely within a haircut, which isn't really, because it's a client and it's like a commission piece, it's that they have freedom. But it starts with like a fundamental belief that you can get and do whatever you want, but then it's actually turning like a skill into something that actually gives you that freedom. So I think a lot of young barbers will listen to this, and a lot of people that, not even barbers, just people in general, creators, someone with a skill, they might think it's very far away, and for some people it's much closer than what they even realize. But we can't hide from the fact that like it did take work, and we work with people now on a level where we're trying to take them from being in the brick and mortar business to like running an online business. And yeah, like the freedom sells people into it, right? But at the end of the day, like you can't hide away from the fact that there will be 20-hour days, and there will be times where it feels uncomfortable. And I think from sport, like my background in sport really taught me that like, yeah, you're going to eat shit and you're going to eat a lot of it, and you're not going to win very often, but when you do, you win fucking big, you know? And that's what's worth it.
Yeah, we've been coaching people for a number of years now. We see it a lot, and question always comes up for me is like, what separates the people that go and get it and the ones that don't? And there's a great line that Dan Martell says. He's like, success is there for those who just go and get it. Like, because I often think that's like, you know, all of us, all four of us here, we've had pretty incredible careers. We've done some awesome stuff, things that people would dream of. Like, what separates us, other than being absolute legends? Well, what separates people like us to everybody else? And there's another there's like a famous quote by a guy called Mel Fisher. I don't know if you heard of this story. And he sailed around, I think it was somewhere like around, was it Hawaii or something like that? And he'd heard that there was gold in the ocean somewhere. Didn't know where it was, just heard that a ship had gone down and there was treasure, right? 16 years it took him to find this treasure. Millions of dollars gone, teams gone, his family left him, all this crazy stuff.
His son died. His son even died.
His son died on the exhibition. Crazy, right? But eventually he found the gold. And they were like, now, what keeps you going? And he said, well, there's three things. He said, first, you got to believe it's real. Number two, you got to believe you can go and get it. He said, number three, you just got to have the balls to do it. It's like, so, and then at the end of that, that's where we get that line, today is always the day, like today's the day. Because that's the line he would say to himself. He'd wake up, and no matter how crazy people thought he was, he'd say, lads, today's the day. Today's the day we find gold. And he said it every day for 16 years, but he eventually found it. And there's that three-part process. And I think people get stuck in the first two. They either, number one, don't believe it's real, or they don't believe it's, or if they do believe it's real, they don't believe it's for them. You know, because I think most people can go and get some stuff if they want to, right? But like, it's like, let's just relate it to the barbershop. For the people that are probably going to watch this, they're probably going to be in the barbershop or educating or whatever. Like the whole raising the price thing, a lot of them just actually don't believe it's even real.
They're valuable enough for it.
Yeah. Or the second part, it's either they don't believe it's real because they're not around other people that are like encouraging it or doing it. Or secondly, even if they do see it, they don't believe it's for them. You know, and that's a really scary part. So yeah, for you guys, I'd love to hear a little bit about like, where do you think your level of belief comes from?
I would say like, for me, one of my favorite things, what I heard from a friend, like, same as you and E, like the base is sport. Like I was a goalkeeper for multiple years, and then I kind of switched and started in a lot of sports. And I stayed with like extreme sport, BMX, scooter, rollerblades, skateboard, whatever. And one friend of mine said, and let me rephrase this to English, who never falls right under the limits of his skills. Don't know if that makes sense in English, but this stuck in my head straight away. And doing of these sports, like if you want to reach or do any tricks like basic tail whip or whatever, I spent hours and hours in skate park. I smashed my body. I hopefully didn't broke anything, but I fell 50, 60, 100 times till I reached the one trick. And I remember the feeling of like, yes, do you have it on a video or whatever? I was like, no. I was like, okay, I did it. So the inside of feeling like I set myself something to the head, which I create a vision, and I reach the vision, because I tried, and I tried harder and harder day by day. Similar to situation of the guy, of course, not 16 years, but there was a trick which I couldn't reach for multiple months. And then one day I just got to the skate park, like, today is the day, and it happened. And I think this kind of create a picture in my head of like, if I really want something, only person who is holding me from it is myself. And I really need to try hard. And of course, maybe I'm gonna fail. Maybe I'm gonna fail 100 times, maybe 150. But if I'm never gonna try, I'm never gonna know. And when I stepped into the hair world and the hair industry, and for me, it doesn't feel like a work, and never had the vision of, I can be this person one day. It was just, let's try this. Oh, it works. Perfect. Let's try this. Oh, it works. Let's try this. Oh, I fell multiple times. But maybe the next time is going to be good. And I think this kind of is in my head, that the engine which is still like pushing me of like, Martin, I know what you are capable, and you can do it if you believe in that, if you can visualize it, and if you really work hard for that. Yeah, it's there. And it's, as we say, it's that simple. Of course, the other side of the coin is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because without the sacrifice, you not reaching anything. Like as we said, our sacrifice was a time, not going out for the parties, not having, for example, girlfriends, not meeting any people, like basically not having a free time. But that was the tax, what we were willing to pay for the outcome, what we wanted to reach. And I would say for a lot of people, sometimes is missing a level of awareness of what the whole journey is. Because as we saw on the socials, there is this bright, pinky picture of, yeah, it's easy, just do it like this and like that. A lot of people try and they fail. As they fell second and third time, they're like, okay, it's not working, it's not worth it. But that's, I would say, what kind of like separates the people on two paths on, yeah, I tried 5 times, it doesn't work. And there's a guy who tried 100 times, and the 101st time it works. And as any artists, painters, they paint thousands of paintings till the one become famous, and that's how they become worldwide known. So it's not because someone had something different. He was just like locked into the vision and continue consciously of like, this, I go. And it doesn't matter what is happening around, this is my vision and I go for it. So yeah, I think for me it's coming from the vision of, I can see myself that I'm able to do whatever. And a lot of people obviously is telling you like, no, you cannot, that's not possible. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try.
We'll see.
We'll see. So
Yeah.
Try, never know. That is something that we say back and forward to each other all the time. And that goes down to like the smallest thing. You know, why not give it a crack? I think something to bring up which kind of popped into my brain recently, a quote that I heard from a good friend of mine, Camille, who's a trader, and then I infused kind of my part. What's the difference between ego and confidence? And as we're speaking about kind of beliefs and what allows you to go get it, I don't see ego as a bad thing at all. You know, ego is a tool. We all have one. That's the person that you see in the mirror. That's the visions of, I can do this, or I can go get that. You know, that is your internal belief in yourself, which then we can define as ego. You know, words are just words at the end of the day. We attach what we want to those words. So you have ego. Let's say you want to raise your price. You want to raise your price from $50, let's say, to $70. And your ego is telling yourself, I'm worth it. I can go do that. My clients will pay. And if not, new clients will come in. All of just these thoughts. And that's ego because it's not reality yet. And then, as Camille said, what is confidence? Confidence is undeniable proof, evidence that you can do. And I think people get really lost in the two, and especially with the ego. And now we see all around industries, all around the world, people live too deep into their ego, and that's why ego is a tool. Use it, don't let it abuse you. And it is the most powerful tool. We spoke the other day, and I've never actually shared this on camera, so it's a funny one to share it, that when I turned 18, a little rough patch as, you know, teenagers go through, broke up with ex, didn't know what to do, didn't know what I wanted. And I was there on my birthday, on my own, in my car, on FaceTime to my best friends, who are not barbers. And we were just lads at the time, and they were just talking. And at one moment I just started shouting down the phone, I'm the best in the world, gonna be the best in the world. And I ended it with saying, no, I am the best in the world. And obviously egotistical as hell, and not something that I would scream and shout to the public. And it was just to my two best friends. But that I know is what got me to where I got to. But then, once the confidence has been proved for whatever, you know, you need to redirect, and your ego and your internal beliefs are gonna change and shape in a different direction every year, every month, every week, every day. And it's having that balance, that synergy between your ego and your confidence. Because if you let one go too far without the other, so if you keep just undeniably proving to yourself on one thing, you get bored. And a quote that I've lived by for the last year is, the empty mind is open for the devil's work. And that is what I would say we see in 99 maybe % of society these days, boredom. You know, boredom is what creates problems. You know, emotion, you don't feel those problems, even if you've got big obstacles in front of you. And actually, as Josh Ramonica said, obstacles turn them into your obsessions. Too right, you know, if you want what's on the other side. But then there's also the other choice. There's never a need, it's all wants, it's all desires. So if you want that much, you're gonna go get it. And if not, you've got the sacrifice of letting it go, and you can turn right, you can turn left. I think that's what a lot of young people are lacking is, you know, defining what they want, their ego, and then setting out on a journey to prove it with their confidence, you know, through proof.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, like, I mean, the undeniable stack of evidence and proof is like the thing that underpins everything, in my opinion. You know, I was very similar in that sense to you, Charlie, in terms of like, I just have an internal dialogue that like I'm just good at everything, you know, and like
It's terrible, but it's brilliant.
yeah, and if you can express it in like a humble way, like I also know I'm terrible at other things, but I know that I can get better at those things that I feel like I'm terrible at. And I hold like a really high standard for myself in that regard, in that area of my life, because I come from the professional cycling background. So that's like a meticulous sport when it comes to like marginal gains. And it's one of those sports where you lose a lot. Like you lose most of the time. But every day that you're out training and you're eating shit and you're doing the hard yards and putting in the work, it's for that one like glimmer of like hope that, you know, maybe one day I will win that race, and maybe one day, you know, I will be the hero for that moment. And like, and I've experienced moments like that in my career and in my cycling career. But like, we would race 70, 80 days a year, train most of the days per year. And you might get 1 or 2 moments of that per season. And the rest of the time you're just as good as your last race. And you have to be okay with that. You know, so then when I came from that into like hair, like I said to you at the Barber Bash, I was like, this is the easiest thing ever. Like nobody's actually just reaching out and grabbing it and like taking these opportunities. And that's why in my career, like within 2 years, I was like doing this global like education role with Andis, and like I was traveling all over the world, and I was just like, how the fuck did this happen? Like, how has nobody else done this already? Like, what? And then I was in Australia. There was other factors, you know, like I think my accent probably played into me getting a lot of the gigs, and being Irish and being in Australia, it was a bit of X factor to it, maybe, I don't know. But ultimately, like when you step out on that stage, and I've seen you guys present, and like the confidence is there, you can feel it, you know. That's what creates opportunities like this, where we can live in these countries, you know, you can build brands, you can, off the back of what you guys have done already now, you can do whatever you want because you have an audience. You can create the life that you want. It all starts with what happens between the 6 year, like the 6 inches between your ears, right? Like it's the conversation and the dialogue that you have with yourself. And I think like, yeah, my standards for myself can be toxic at times, for sure. But I also think that can be healthy too, because it's like, well, I have this amazing opportunity where I'm like a talented person. I can do shit, like it's almost like a disrespect to my privilege not to. Like, why would I not give this my absolute best crack? You know? And there's so many talented people that I know, and that will probably listen to this, that just aren't like going and getting it. And it's really it's such a balance between like,
being too savage and
and then like the hard work, but also it being easy. You know, like that whole thing of like, it's so fucking easy, but don't forget to the hard yards. It's like somewhere in between that, like there's magic.
that's the interesting part, you know, it is so hard, but then when the mind is empty, devil's work creeps in, that's more difficult. That's more difficult, being sat on your ass and thinking, who am I, what do I need to do? You know, at least when you're doing something, you're moving the body, you know, it's what we speak about all the time. It's essential just to keep motion, keep the body moving, keep blood flowing, oxygen flowing through your body. And it sounds so far away from barbering and the industry, but that's the essence of it, you know, making sure that you're just doing.
I say this to my coaching group all the time, what's the common denominator between all the industries and things on the planet? It's done by humans. So like people think, the training, the mindset, the crystals, whatever you're into. But it's like, but what's the common denominator? I don't care what you do, put whatever label you want on yourself, but you're a human. And we all are, right? And we all need to move, and we all need to do these things. And you brought up a great point of like, I see that a lot. Life is so convenient now that it rarely challenges us. And Peter Crone says this, if it's not life-threatening, it's ego-threatening. There's not much life-threatening on this planet anymore. Look, we're in Bali. Once upon a time, we probably would have got our heads cut off if we come to this place, you know? There were headhunter tribes, there were all these different things. We come to the jungle a long time ago, we might not have got out alive, you know? So...
Now we're in a 5-star villa.
Yeah, and now we just rock up like, oh yeah, we'll just take that villa, we'll film a nice little podcast, chat to the boys, you know, whatever. But I think that's the thing, it's like, with life comes experience and different things that happen. So in my life, there's been like a bit of death over the last couple of years, and to see that, it's like we're all going the same way. Like we come in this way and we all go out the same way. It's like, it's so convenient and it's so good, and it's so like, you know, we don't have to try to survive. It's like, what else are you gonna do? Like, and that's why I love that point. It's like, what else are you gonna do? You might as well just have a crack, because like Owen said, it's kind of a disrespect to our privilege. We're pretty privileged, like it's pretty good.
that privilege and that boredom that people are sat in, they're all on this search for life. What is life? And people get so stuck. And the quote that you mentioned about is just a hurt on the ego. Oh, it's so true. When we were leaving Amsterdam, 2 of our closest friends, they're incredibly able people. They could easily sit here and have an amazing conversation with us. And I ended up just having such a motivational, happens quite often. I just get going, can't stop. And I just ended up looking them dead in the eyes. I was like, boys, you have everything you need inside of you. Stop searching, stop looking, like you have anything you need, whatever you want. And then when it comes to work, when it comes to the barbering industry, let's be more specific, cutting hair, opening a shop, being an ambassador for a brand, being an educator, being an online educator, whatever it may be, that's just work. We all have to, you have to pay bills. And that is the thing that kind of I spoke to my friends about, of like, that's there, So you don't need to look at that. Just grab one, just go, and you'll be good, you'll be fine. And another thing that came up in that same conversation is something that saddens me a little bit, that people are waiting and not creating, and they're waiting for the right whatever. And this has been said a million times before, but through living in Amsterdam for the last 4 years and just being the big mouth that I am, I truly live by you're one conversation away from whatever you might want. And you don't know what you want, because when it's there and you get that feeling, you flow off of that feeling, and then you forget what you wanted. It's that thing that we said, like you have a plan, and then within the plan, you get another plan, and then you plan to have a plan to plan to plan. And do you ever get to that real end goal? No, you just start with it, and then through the undeniable proof of whatever, you just keep moving. Yeah.
I think we had a really interesting conversation the other day about identity shifts as that all happens, because when I was a cyclist, I was completely indoctrinated in cycling, right? And I was like, that's it. I'm going to be a cyclist, and I'm going to do the Tour de France, and I wasn't even looking beyond like what was coming next. And as I've got older, I've realized that we have chapters and they come to an end, and then we have another chapter, and now I'm as open as I've ever been to like things going wherever they need to go. Same thing when we worked with our previous company. It was like we were indoctrinated. It was like, this is it, we're all in. Like, and I'm very much that type of person, all in on things. And then what I've had to learn and overcome is the identity shifts required when something isn't serving me anymore, and then just be like, you know what, like I just need to park that now, and it's been great, and I've taken loads of cool lessons from it, and like it's made me the person that I am, and I'm very grateful for it. But now it's time to like do something else.
The chapter one and start the other one. And I think that's sometimes people are scared of, you know, like they attach themselves to something too much that in their head is just like, I can't do anything else. Like the simplest example is like relationship, right? We all probably know people who are in a toxic relationship for years, and they're like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be good. The reason why they scared escape of it is because they don't know what to do. Like in their brain, they create a vision of my life is next to this person, and if I'm gonna separate, my life is on the end. Yeah. It's not. Your life start again from the day one, and that's when you have to do more. And I think for the brain is the best to leave things on, because as imagine every single experience, work or whatever can be like imagine a ball stuck on your feet, right? More you're gonna carry on your feet, harder it's gonna be to walk. Sometimes you just have to cut the leash, leave the things there, and just move on. And I would say that's what a lot of people are scared to do, because then it's like, what's gonna be next? I'm like, yeah, just relax, chill down, breathe, and the right things are always gonna come to your path. And it doesn't matter what. It's if you are able to just move forward, and as Charlie said, the easiest thing, just move your body, just do something for you, and you're gonna figure it out sooner or later, 100%. But then for them it's like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. In the back.
Like take messy action is something that we do very well. Like we don't have to have it all figured out. A demo experiences this with us as well. We just fucking do shit, and then if we like it, we keep doing it, and if we don't, we stop doing it, and nobody cares. Like at the end of the day, you know, this whole thing of everyone's watching, and like it's like nobody's watching. Like
no one really cares.
And that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm actually not that important to like the world, but I am in many respects, but I'm not as important. It's like a duality, right? Like there's balance in it. And
both of your points in a really an amazing way coincide with you saying go all in, and then your story about the guy who traveled the world in the ship. And then with Martin speaking about cutting that, it's the ship is traveling around. He stops in one place, drops the anchor, goes all in looking for that treasure, and then when it comes to the point he doesn't find it, chops that anchor off, lifts the anchor up, and then goes on a search again with I'm going to find it today. And
the ship is still the ship, right? Yeah, yes. The anchor is just the anchor. Yeah. And the anchor is the thing, the mechanism in which how we do something right now. And it's like, for me, the anchors were cycling, barbering, all of these different things. And like one thing we say to our clients quite often is like, the worst thing that anybody in this group can do is to overly identify with the label of being a barber, because as soon as you do that, you put a ceiling on like what you can do, and oftentimes that ceiling is the four walls of a barbershop, where it's like, oh, this is all I am and this is all that I can do, and I can only ever reach these like income goals, for example. Let's just say income, but they could be sitting on an absolute goldmine of like other skills.
And that's attached to the one conversation away from whatever you want. My colleague and good friend in Amsterdam, he had this where he really wanted to move into the fashion industry, and couldn't see, you know, with the time in the barbershop, what he was going to do. I said, bro, come on, man. You're in the fashion industry, number one. Hair is a huge part of fashion. Number two, you're in the beautiful city of Amsterdam, and it doesn't matter where you are. There are fashionable people everywhere who identify themselves as, you know, wearing cool clothes or whatever. So speak to your clients, and, you know, you've got a model, you've got a phone, you've got the beautiful skill of being able to cut hair. And that comes down to the content creation part. You know, I think so many questions get asked to me and Martin, and I'm sure the same to you guys, or maybe less so now, but more when you were doing the hair, of how do you guys create these beautiful videos and find the models and whatever. it's all there. It's just if you want
Just start, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you don't say it and like claim it, it will never happen, you know. I remember Conor McGregor said some quote one time about like, remember when he won the double belt, and he was just like, if you can see it in here and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. And it's like, if your mate wanted to go all in on the fashion brand, if he was just saying that to every single client, like I'm going to have the best fashion label in the world. Like, think about someone like Kanye West. Like, most people will call him fucking crazy, but there's a lot to be learned from Kanye West. You know, he's a genius. He is a genius. And he claims a lot of stuff, and a lot of it happens.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just life and success and business and money and all of it is just for the person who claims it, who reaches out and actually takes it and grabs it.
We've been challenging that line of like be, do, have. You've heard of that. People say, oh, you be, do, have, and that can hold people back sometimes, because the be part, people can wait too long. Like, I need to be this, I need to think like this, or look like this, or do this. It's like, when's that going to happen? Whereas if you just switch the be and the do around, do, then you be, and then you have the stuff that you want. It's like, if you just do stuff, like you know, we were saying there, if you just tell everybody, I've got the best fashion brand in the world, I've got the best fashion brand in the world. You say that enough, and we're like, oh, that's Dave, he's got the best fashion brand in the world. You know, someone's going to say it eventually, and then all of a sudden, you've done it so much, all of a sudden you just are through people's perception. And then you have
a big wall that people are putting up in front of themselves that I believe is like, it's harboring resentment. And that's something that one of my mentors is spoken so much about, so many different parts. You know, never harbor resentment. Every single moment that you're in now is a stepping stone to get to whatever you want to be at now. So let's say you are a barber in the shop and you want to move towards being an educator. Well, you might have a colleague next to you. You can ask him, can you stay after work and I want to just demonstrate a haircut and just practice my public speaking? Or whether you want to open a shop. You might have business owners in your chair who you can already speak to and learn about the world of business, or whether that might be Instagram. You can start putting out there content of you speaking into a microphone and just developing this idea. And another colleague of mine, he really was resenting the barbering industry. He wanted to go into something else. And I said, brother, whatever you do, just stop resenting what you're doing now. You know, think what you were doing a few years ago. You have what you wanted, and it's amazing that you got here. Yes, fine, it never stops there. Life never stops. You got to always keep evolving, keep progressing, and use now as the stepping stone to get to where you want to get to. And it's all there, you know.
Yeah. You said something great yesterday as well, and it's something we've been playing around with a lot. And you know, we hear people blaming a lot of things in their environments and circumstances, and you know, the worst one in the world is when people blame their kids for like not having the life that they want to have. And it's like, reasons and excuses are very, very closely linked, like first cousins, if not brother and sister. You know, it's like the thing that you're saying is the excuse should be the reason. It's like you're saying that you can't go and do this thing because you have kids. It's like, that's the exact reason why you should go and do this thing. It's like when we have people want to come into our coaching program and they're like, I can't afford it. It's like, and that's exactly the reason why you should do it, because it's designed to make you money. You know, it's the irony in it is just wild, but like the reasons and the excuses are very, very closely linked. It's just which one are you going to pick up and which one are you going to go forward with.
And it's such a disempowering way to live. Like, again, in psychology, if you think about, there are some people who are just victim to circumstance. Some people just will not do anything unless everything out there is perfect. But it's disempowering because it's such an unreliable way to live. Like, when is anything ever perfect all around us? It's not.
That's the success is subjective.
It's unreliable vehicle.
Perfect exists, right?
Exactly. So like, and I think you brought up, it's like everything you want is in here. It's cliche. It's a bit woo-woo.
But they're all cliches.
That's true, yeah.
It's because what's the opposite? The opposite is I can't make any moves unless what's out there is perfect. Then you become a victim to circumstance. And then that's a disempowering life. And then you become bored. Because in the interim, you'll be like, this is boring. You know?
I think for people, like, I came up with the psychology or idea that living life is basically activity, right? You wake up, you have X, Y amount of hours, and whatever you do in your life, just make it interesting. Living life is basically your activity. What will make your activity for you to be interested? whatever it is, just do it. And that's what's just gonna move you forward, you know, and whatever it can be. Like people are like, yeah, how this and that. I'm like, bro, it doesn't matter. If you have something what you feel this is the right thing for you, just put it in your activity of daily routine and whatever, and you're gonna continuously progress. Yeah, it might take time. Yeah, it might be hard, but you're never gonna be bored of it, because that's like the inside of feeling like I'm purposely doing something for myself, and that's where the energy are coming from, right?
That's the key part, is doing something for yourself. I think culturally we've got a bit of like a responsibility pandemic where we're not, and I can't quite work it out if people are afraid to take responsibility or it's just trained out of us from an early age. I think it might be a bit of both. But the thing I say is like, and to resonate to your point, is like, just do whatever you want, but please choose it. Like, just choose it. It's the same with the hair thing. People start complaining about hair. It's like, yeah, but did it choose you or are you choosing it? It's like, because at a certain point, people could say, oh yeah, hair chose me. It's like, okay, be careful when you say that, because it's actually disempowering. It can be disempowering because it will just drag you along, else and you'll complain.
I mean, there's the there's the other cliche. You know, life is just a set of choices, and it doesn't go really much beyond there. And as we were saying yesterday, so cool how yesterday we were just having a conversation,
Podcast on the lunch.
literally a podcast lunch, same as this, and that sentence, which kind of sounds crazy even when I still repeat it and when I read it, with the pick one thing that matters and justify it, and then action, and that's just it. You know, people get so stuck in the ego part of what matters, then the excuses part of how to justify it, and then they don't seek the action. And because they don't seek the action, they never get the feeling. And the feeling is the only tangible part of any of it, because the success is subjective. The money that comes in, subjective. You know, the amount of followers, subjective. You know, to whatever moment you're on in your life. But the feeling, you know, that is something that cannot be put on a metric, that cannot be, you know, challenged by anything. That's the living, that's the feeling good. You know, and chasing that feeling is the answer, and not stopping.
And it highlights our privilege, right? Again, we're back to that again. It highlights the privilege of like that we even have a choice. You know, look, we're in Bali. I'm sure there's a large percentage of people that don't have a choice of what they do. They kind of just have to survive. You know, they're doing whatever. I see people cleaning the gutters on the rice field. I'm like, what a shit job. But like, they probably just have to, because that's the path they've been given, right? So yeah, it highlights that fact of privilege massively. And if we've got that privilege, just might as well make the most of it, right?
I think another P word is perspective, you know, like amongst the privilege. Like, I think a lot of people in the Western world, like cities like Amsterdam, the UK, Ireland, they have their troublesome places. Australia is the same, right? Like, but a lot of people in Australia will say that Australia is like a shit place. I'm like, why would you ever be there? And it's like, you clearly haven't been to like England or Ireland and been to some of the rough places, or Slovakia. Like, I'm sure there's places in Slovakia that are much different to anywhere, right? But the cool thing about Bali and like being here is that the Westerners who come here typically are like and who live here are in like the higher like success bracket of like business or skill set, or they've, you know, some creators that live here are just the best in the world, right? Like at what they do. But we're living next to complete poverty. So like the perspective that you have from that is just so humbling. It's like, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to go after it. Like, you know, the barbers over here get paid the equivalent of like 200 or 300 euros a month or something like that. It's like, what the fuck? You know, how are they even making that work? And then, you know, we speak to people all the time who are just not happy with their circumstance and this and that. But I think the deep sense of unhappiness in like people in the Western world comes from like knowing that they want to do something and then just not doing it. You know, like not actually going after their dreams.
It's the ego and confidence part. You know?
Yeah.
And that's a really funny part when you spoke about the majority of people over here. You know, even just the gym that me and Martin are training at, you know, some could say it's quite obnoxious, really. You know, a lot of, let's say, Instagram personalities and people there just for the show. But let's just flip the coin onto the boy. But let's just flip to the other side of the coin of the people back in their home countries. oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to go. Well, there's not much difference. The only thing is that person's lived into their ego to the point of finding the confidence and doing it. You know, so many people for you, so many people for me from our hometowns. Oh, I need to move away as well. I need to leave my hometown. And you know, the cliche comes in of just do it, but breaking that down, you know, we all have those internal thoughts, you know, the ego. I need to, I can, you know, only the excuses will stop you getting to the confidence. And when the confidence is there, the undeniable proof, then it's like, oh, that happened. Now what? Next. Onwards.
Yeah, I would say it's like this going slightly different way maybe, but as we all know, like what you get is what you give. What am I saying, right? Or opposite? Yeah. Okay.
No, what you give is what you get.
Yeah.
I just was nodding there. I was like, no, that's completely wrong.
So what you give is what you get,
Yeah.
right? And for a lot of people, it's like they complain a lot. They talk about other people, not in the best way, and like everything what is coming out, words, actions, whatever, for myself, handling some sort of energy. If the energy and the outcome from you or vibration or whatever it can be is going out, it's basically the bounce what is coming in. So of course then you're kind of trapped to take action, because like if I'm just look at the people back home, and Slovakia is a country where a lot of people complain, but who do you help when you're gonna complain? Like, am I gonna help myself if I'm gonna sit here and complain how was the world, how it was hard, how people doesn't wish me good and whatever. It's just like spreading something back into something which is gonna bounce back.
What's that gonna do?
So what, like how that's gonna help me? Not like nowhere. So either just like switch it up. Okay, something bad might happen, I might not having a good day, but that's all right, I can handle it, and just like find at least like a good point in every day why you should be happy for and why you should do things or take actions or whatever, and just flip it a little bit. Like, this is so common. If I see someone who is, example, having a nice car, having rolls, 9 out of 10 people we said like, oh, it's someone's son, or he just, you know, wants some money, or he doesn't deserve that. Why? Maybe the person sitting in a Rolls Royce spent last 20 years of hard working and sacrificing every single minute of his life to came to the point to buy the Rolls Royce.
That's the harboring resentment. No, that's just what stops.
That's the words what I don't have in my dictionary.
It's funny that they come out of mine, because my English can be pretty dire sometimes. I mean, it's the, as you said about, you know, some days are shit, you know, but even times where we've had not fun things happen, you know, technical errors or teaching errors or what business, whatever it may be, we'll look at each other. Yeah, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Yeah, you know?
And, I was just going to throw in some really cheesy quotes, but Tony Robbins says that like where focus goes, energy flows. Yeah. What you focus on expands, right? And it's so true. Like whatever you focus on, that will expand. I'll just give you a really simple example. Like when I used to teach consultation, this is the part where people freak out the most, right? That's why people do crap consultations, so they just freak out. They don't know how to talk. I say, all right, let's just set the energy first. You go in and the story that goes on in here is this is going to be fucking awesome. Yeah. This is going to be fucking awesome. Watch out everything that changes. Everything from there is like easy. You know?
It's so right, man.
You don't even need to, hey, so what do you like about your hair? No, you walk in and you go, this is fucking awesome. Everything's like, great.
Oh, it's so true, man. Yeah. My students and colleagues in Amsterdam, I had this little game, and I say to colleagues, if you are not the busiest person in the room, I mean, for me, I just have to be, you know, because, you know, we're all in these games, you know, and unless you really have a justified matter of why you don't want to be, cool, whatever, I'll leave you out of that game. But so therefore, when every client sits in your chair, and like you said about setting that energy, I just have this mindset of, I'm going to give them that amazing feeling, and it's all based on the feelings, the energy, whatever we want to say, but I'm going to give them the best service that they will not go to anyone else. And if they do, that's life, and I'll just ignore that one. But rarely it would happen. And it got to the point where wherever I was cutting, whatever salon I was cutting in, you know, I would be the busiest guy. And why? Because I set out with that intent of, this is going to be great. I'm going to make that person happy. You know, then understanding the facts. They're not a professional. They don't know what a perfect haircut is.
Looking for the space that other people aren't creating, right? You know, and it's again like we live in a world of mediocrity too. Like
I don't know what that word means. No, that was my time to learn.
it's not even in my. It's not.
You live where?
Like, tell me you're in Bali.
Not in my vocabulary.
Is that in Ireland?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But we got to
It's
a
an
funny
Irish word, actually. Born in Ireland.
Please break it down, though. I'm interested.
in the shop where like I knew I was coming to the end of my time at the shop and we were transitioning to different things. But I got to a point where I would say it to people. They were like, oh, the haircut's so good. And like, I'd have my awards on the side. I'd be like, you know why, don't you? They'd be like, why? I'm like, because I'm the best. I would literally like, but it's not even, it's just planting that seed again. And remember that, you know, and they'll think, who's going to do my hair? Oh, well, I guess Lee's going to do it because he told me he's the best. It's like, but it's not even even if it was true or not, it's like, but it's the intent, and it's again the confidence thing, right? Like
And people feel that.
yeah.
And like care that you're trying to give. They feel it. Darkness is upon us.
It is.
Yeah.
Should we go inside?
Should we move?
Yeah.
You
I think that would actually be a really cool element to the thing.
It's donuts.
Okay.
Donut.
Yeah, donut time. Yeah.
Martin's going to be in the corner just eating leaves. Change of scenery.
Part 2, we're back. And something I've been kind of tossing up with lately is how do we speak more to like people's desires rather than like their pain points? Because there's a lot of people in pain, particularly in the hair industry, but like how can we pull them towards desire? Because I was just saying to you guys just then, it's like, isn't it pretty cool that we get to do this kind of stuff for a living, you know? And some of the coaches that I look up to and aspire to, they speak about like, if you can just like monetize like who you are, it's like the best job in the world. And then you don't have to like hide anything. In January, for example, we're doing this course with Tony Robbins, and it's like, why don't we just invite all of our clients? And then we got a place like this, and we just invited our clients. 15 people came. We were here for 5 days. We stayed up all night watching like this Tony Robbins event. And it's like, this is how we make a living, like just by doing like cool shit like this. So it's super cool that that's a possibility. But like, what I really want to drill home to people tuning in is that like, you don't actually have to be fucking superstar special either. Like I was a very average barber, very average. Probably shoot myself.
Yeah, you're probably doing yourself a disservice then.
Is that why you stopped?
Yeah, one reason.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things, like you were saying outside, Charlie. It's like, you know, if you apply yourself to something and you, like for me, it was like a big validation seeking thing. And I knew that I had like an eye for it, and I was like good at doing very like functional and suitable haircuts. But I never ever thought it would get to this point where it's like, now we're here doing something like this. And
I think that's the beautiful part of the story, isn't it? It's like what gets you going isn't always going to be the thing that keeps you going. It's like, I was the same. I got into it purely for validation. Like I only decided I was going to do hair 2 weeks before I did it, because it just seemed like that was the best idea at the dinner table that night. I was like 15 and everyone was like, my parents, you want to go work at like Tesco, like we were saying earlier, do you want to do this? I was like, nah, shit. And then my dad was like, you care about your hair so much, why don't you be a hairdresser? And I was like, oh, cracking idea. Yeah, great. I'll get to look good, smell good, be around women, fantastic.
Attached your identity.
Yeah, and I can, you know, feed the inner perfectionist. And that's what it was for about 10 years. But then as I grew and I changed, and it started to turn into service, and then service turned into me having my own awareness around my own service and realizing, oh, now I get to choose how I serve. And I felt like I wasn't serving on the level that I knew I could. And that's kind of where I've grown into in business today, is like choosing how I serve. And that wasn't behind the chair anymore. It wasn't even teaching people how to cut hair anymore. That still didn't feel like it was, you know, deep rooted enough for me anymore. So, and I think something to really drill home for the guys watching is like, the internet allows us to do this. That's the big change now, is like we live in a digital landscape. I think that's not to be ignored. I think the barbers that ignore the digital landscape, not just for the followers, not just for this, that, but like just acquisition and anything they want to do in general, if they ignore the digital landscape, they might get left behind in the next 5 years, purely just because of where everything's going anyway. Like if you're not actively trying to, you know, reveal your personal brand and just build something that people just want to be a part of, yeah, you might get left behind.
I'm really excited for you guys. I'm really excited for you guys. By the way, just like when we met first and when we were back in the UK and like we, you know, you meet a bunch of people and you're like, fuck, they could be doing so much more.
Yeah.
Like not in like that more is better, right? Like everything's subjective, but it's like the audience that you have, the reputation that you have, the personal brands that you've built. It's like, I really look forward to seeing where you're going to take it next. It's going to be really, really
exciting.
But yeah, I think that's a cool place to kind of go next, is personal brand and like what you guys know about that space. You know a lot of cool people. You've showed us some of your friends already. We've seen like 2 of your friends' Instagram pages and it's like they're the coolest people in the world. And it's like, yeah. What are your thoughts on everything that we just said?
Okay. Moving forward, I'm gonna step back. And as you said, like I choose cutting hair because it was just a fun for me, you know, and even back then couldn't see the bigger picture of where I can go. But first, okay, it's fun. Now, okay, I can make some money out of it. And okay, now I can create a community. And this was something what inspired me back then and still is kind of like a pushing me in. Is one of my best friends. He's unbelievable in a movement. Doesn't matter what, if it's like a fitness, he's stuntman, actor, whatever. And I remember one point of he asked me if I want to come to his competition. It was some rebel competition, dancing challenge. So I was like, yeah, why not? I entered the room and the feeling what I had from the community was something what I can explain it by words. You know, you just like feel it, the people over there, the drive, the energy, and the fact that we can be against you and we in the circle can just like really want to fuck you up. But then if it's done, we friends, we chill, we dance the day after, we have in jam and we creating connections. And this was for me as probably back then a bigger picture of what I would love to achieve is a community of people sharing like-minded things together, where is a wealthy competition, because competition is, I would say, important. If you have no one to compete, like how that's going to push you forward? And that's basically what for myself is the purpose right now, to build a huge community of people where we can share, as they were sharing their information about steps, about movements, where we can kind of compete, but the competition is helping us to move forward, where we can feel amazing and on top of ourselves level, which is possible, which can drive ourselves through any challenge and whatever. And this is for me something which right now is very important, to build a community, build a safe space, build something where we can help people to achieve whatever they want in life, even if it's some mentoring, even if it's some hair cutting skills or whatever. And looking forward for the future. And this for me is like crazy, because I was never a guy who liked school. Since I was young, like I liked to be in a school, it was fun. I had a couple friends, I like breaks and like the gym stuff, like doing backflips and running around. And I had idea in my head for like a future, and that's basically a build a school, because how you can help someone. Sometimes it's hard to change adult people's life and adult people's mind. You live, you have your experience, and there is the engine which is like, it's not going this way. But raising a kids, as we spoke a little bit about, is you want to raise your kids in the best ways as possible, and you want to have the best environment for your kids. And moving forward out of any industry, let's just build school to help our future generation to see life through a lens which is not dark, which is not I can't do this and I can't do this and I'm not capable, where the space for them is really open, when the life is a fun game to play, where you enjoy living life, you're not suffering to live in a life. So moving forward, this is something which, even when I didn't like a school and now I'm a teacher, educator, it's like looking back, it's like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, it's probably all of us. Or
Yeah.
you just went same. Your schooling experience, you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it, but again, I saw that the leadership could be better. Yeah.
So there you go. And yeah, Martin summed it up, in an amazing way. We had this conversation years ago. What kind of Martin's life goals are, and what he just said then is what he said 3 years ago. So I mean, moving forward from us, fine, we're in the hair industry. We love the hair industry. We're at a point now we want to give back to the hair industry. But as a lot of people within the hair industry, and sat on the table with 2 examples, we want to do more than just the hair industry. So Project Line, which we'll be launching in the very near future, it's a collective, collaborative community where with our resources and support, we're going to enable people to achieve their goals. And it is going to go far beyond just hair. Because for us and everything we spoke outside, life is a set of choices, and all of these walls that maybe are environmentally fed into people or societally, which is also environmentally, it saddens us, and we both through, I guess, with the mindsets that we spoke outside, the never try, never know. I'm very blessed that the upbringing I had, I pay all homage to my parents. They're legends. They let me do everything, not everything. And when it came to Xbox TV, I never had that in my life, but sport and musical instruments, I tried literally everything. And that gave me this drive of you can do anything. So the project for us is something that's so deep rooted into our values and into what, if anything, can be defined as purpose. It's this, and it literally it gives me goosebumps even speaking about it, because what you just said about speaking about a little bit about your network. Our network is beautiful, and that's because people buy people. We bought them as the person, not their service. They bought us as the people, not our service. So this community is going to grow to something where all industries are involved and everyone inside the community can help each other. So that's the collaborative part. Competition, always. Someone want to compete with me, let's have it.
You can see that on the paddle course, to be fair.
Yeah, it's so good. There's so much
good.
cool stuff in there. It was relating a bit to like our conversation earlier as well about not getting married to the identity of one thing, right? And that's why we're big on mission and values and purpose. Like, I don't know if there is a purpose to life, but you got to give it one, right? Like the people who don't give life a purpose, to your point, get bored, and that's when shit goes sour, right? But I love what you're speaking to there, Martin, about, you're going to step back and you seem very okay with it. And that's a superpower in this modern world, because people do get married to the thing that they're doing. And again, I don't know if it's societal, cultural, if it's just a fear, but I feel like the system sets us up that way to think you're just going to do this one thing. But we spoke a bit about like dreams, and it's important that you do have a dream. And for the dream to live, you got to choose the correct vehicle. And it's not getting married to any which vehicle, and in a different parts of your life, you might have to change the vehicle, It's like, say, traveling the world, right? What, you're on the motorbike, what happens when you get to the water? Well, you got to jump in the boat. The bike ain't going to work anymore, right? And it's the same thing. And that, again, it's another Tony Robbins thing, but he said one thing that we're not taught in life is that it's okay to change. Like what you'll see a lot and this is beautifully tied to your story, like you got the permission to do so much stuff, which is amazing from a parenting standpoint. A lot of people actually don't have the permission to change. They're told, no, you stay there and you do this. Especially where we all come from, like the European side of the world. Oh, no, you stay down. You keep doing that,
Hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So we're not given the permission to change. And that takes a hell of a lot of work to be able to break that story and go, No, I have a dream. It needs to live, and I need to choose the right vehicle at the right time in my life to get that done. So like, hats off to both of you for doing that, because, you know, from the previous company that you came from and all the things that you've done, it would be very easy to get married to that vehicle, right? Like, you know, and because you've done prestigious things and you've built these great brands for yourself.
When speaking about vehicles, this is a beautiful example of me and my brother. Like, we built the company together on my 19th. He's 5 years older, so he was 24. He's my biggest inspiration. For me, he's the main leader, the idol, 100%, smartest guy ever. And the vision of the company was slightly same, you know, like obviously there were a couple changes and differences because we are different humans even when we are a family. But we never wanted to sit in the same vehicle and drive the one, because I was the creative part, he was the business part of the business. So for me, I sit in my vehicle, I let him sit in his vehicle, and we drive the same road. Yeah, sometimes he went this way, sometimes I went this way, but all of this way came to the one road. And I think that's what is very important to, even like even when we are really similar, we are very different in a lot of ways. If it comes to any talks, whatever, I'm never gonna talk to each other like, no, don't do. I know that it's his strength, the most powerful tool. So why I should leash him into my vehicle like we drive in this path? No, it's your drive, enjoy, I'm there, I'm happy to watch and I'm happy to see you succeeding. I'm driving now slightly this way, which doesn't mean like we split an egg or something, but I'm definitely never want to attach someone into my circle or, circle? How is my geometry?
Tricked ya.
Creative one.
Yes. Sometimes.
Be a great school.
Oh, this is how school taught me.
Well, brand logo square and then the name circle.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that's about always give people possibilities and option to choose their own vehicle. Give them just a final line, goal, vision, dream, whatever you want to call it, that they're able to reach it. Let me just help you to decide if on this way you should go right or left, because maybe I drove that that road and I know that on the left is not really good path. On the right, that's maybe better, and you can go through that very easily. So just let me guide you a slightly bit. And that's why we create a project, definitely, because as we spoke, teaching, shows, shootings, whatever, we already done it. We know how to do it. And we know that in the industry is a lot of people who are hungry as we were on the start of our journey. So let me, as a more experienced person, give you the guidance how to do it. You don't have to follow it 100%. I was never following nothing by 100%. I took piece, and I created my own puzzle. So we're just gonna give you as much pieces as we can to help, and it's up to you how many pieces you're gonna take and put it into your own puzzle.
Yeah. Because I think what we see is a lot of coaches force a lot of things down people's throats. You know, one thing that's super important for us moving forward, and as I said again, yes, we're in the hair industry. So a big part of our project is going to be hair. But what we really haven't enjoyed from our standpoint is using our status. And imagine if we did use our status, our nice, beautiful haircuts that we present on Instagram, cut hair with these techniques and you'll be the same. Or cut hair with these tools and you'll be the same. That's a facade. That's not fair, because it comes to the belief, it comes to the desire, and it comes down to all these other things. So we built a space which has the tools, pick and choose what you want to use, and with the mindsets that we're going to feed and yeah, I guess it's easy to say, but the honesty that it comes from. A big part for me is it comes from the question I've been asked numerous times: how at your age, Charlie, have you done what you've done? You know, there's some obvious, amazing reasons. I've been in a beautiful environment working with Men's Fire. I've cut a shit ton of hair. But really what it comes down to is how my parents raised me. I have just tried everything, never try, never know, win or learn, win or learn. And I've just collected this, plethora of skills and confidence. Confidence is undeniable proof. It's stretched away in a good way, away from my ego. My ego drove me to try those things. I tried them and I've got the confidence. Like we have this confidence on, we can do anything. Why? Because we've done a lot, So this empowering feeling is kind of the backbone of our project. And it's super cool that it's not just the hair industry, because that would be doing ourselves and humans an injustice. Because whoever joins in, we don't want to put that ceiling that we spoke about, the four walls of a barbershop. For me, it's just all connecting with even what I said outside with my friend Max in Amsterdam. This guy's not a barber. And when I was telling him, as I mentioned, you have everything you need. This guy is the best example. He's very handsome, great at speaking, great energy. People just connect onto him. And the smoke and mirrors, the facade that he's fallen into is the attaining skills. He's tried all these different jobs. He's got up into all these good different positions for the search of purpose and belonging and feeling successful. But when he's got to the top of all of those, he's not. And then he looks right, then he looks left, and he has this disheartened feeling because he's forgotten that what is his selling point? It's him, and people buy people. Everything this guy does, he goes to the top because people just buy him. So I was there giving him this funny motivational speech of saying, brother, look at your life, man. Attaining skills, we're incredibly able as human beings in whatever you want to do. So this community for us being so collaborative, so open to everyone helping everyone is so important for us, because it's a lie if we base it on just the skills.
I think that's a challenge for some people historically, because it threatens the way they do business, right? It threatens the way they want you to think that it can only be done a certain way to create a codependent relationship so that the thing can keep going. Because the business model that you guys are going to run and the model that we run is like there's a element of like obsolete in there. Like, I want to give you the tools so that you don't need me anymore. Whereas like historically, some models of like coaching, like you said, it's like, I'm just going to tell you this one thing, and then that creates a codependent relationship then to keep the thing moving. So it's very brave of where you're going, and I think it's a very futuristic way to think. Is like, it's a model of empowerment. That's what you're doing. You're empowering people. You're not disempowering them anymore. To sit at the victim is like, hey, here's a bunch of tools. You do what you will with that, whether you need me or not. I've left you a little bit better than I found you, and have a great life, but it takes a hell of a lot of humility to be able to do that. So yeah.
Every once in a while we sit back as well and just think like, is it working? And like just ask ourselves that question. It's like, we can do all of the stuff, right? Like, we can do the amazing haircuts, we can be on the stages, we can do all of it. Like, for me, it was like, yeah, but is it working? For me in my life and where I want to go, and like, is this the best way that I can contribute to the world based on like who I am and like the belief that I have in myself and like that mindset that I could share with other people? Is me standing here cutting someone's hair the best way to do this? No, not at all. Like, there's a much better way in which I can serve, and it's the same thing for us now. Like, hence the name of our company, Unlimited. It can be whatever you want it to be. There's no confinements, there's no limits. And like, one of our kind of like purpose statements, if you say so, was like limitless potential. And obviously there's certain limits to things. Like, I'm not going to just jump off the roof and think that I can fly. Like, I might hurt myself.
It's just up here. It's all in the head. All the tools you need is here.
You didn't bring your crystals, did you?
We're not in Amsterdam anymore, right? We're not in Amsterdam anymore. But when it comes to like, I just look at another human being and I think, if that person has done it, then like, I can. But I can very quickly like put something to the side. Like, for example, cycling didn't work out for me, but I took what I needed from it, and I took the skills from it, and it's like a skill stacking experience, right? So like, the older I get, the more skills I acquire and accumulate, and it changes who I am as a person. So I'd be doing myself and life an injustice to just still be cutting hair, right? Like, it's like I need to move to the next piece of my journey and then keep putting the rope down behind me to people to be like, oh yeah, this worked for me and this didn't work for me. You try it. And like sometimes we'll coach people, like, and really coach them. A lot of the time we mentor people, and a lot of the time we also consult people. So there's times in the relationship that we have with our clients where it's like, we'll just tell people that that's a stupid idea and don't do it. You know, there's like 80% of coaching is just like stopping people doing stupid shit. Like another 10% is, or fucking 15% is just giving them permission to do what they were already going to do. And then the other 3% is just talking about the weather and fucking just random shit, you know? But ultimately it's just how can we best pass on our beliefs to other people so that they can just borrow them for a while. That's all that people need to do, is just borrow someone else's belief for a minute until it becomes your own, until you've given yourself enough evidence for it to become your own thing. And you know, recently we've had conversations around like barbering, and we're just thinking, as much as we have taken so much from the space and we love it, it's like, I think now though, there's more people that we can help as well. So like our business and our project and our mission is to go beyond just hair as well and help people actually turn their life into a business. Because we always have this quote, and it's like, you should build a business that serves your life, not a life that serves your business. And like, that's an important equation to get the right way around, you know, because otherwise you become a prisoner to your own, to your own life, you know.
So true. It's really cool when you were speaking about, you know, your brand and kind of the mottos and feelings behind it. It coincided and clicked with, I would say, one of the biggest inspirations growing up for me. And this was my rugby coach. And I don't know if you guys have heard of his brand, March on Athletics. March on Athletic. So super big fitness brand. Started in my hometown, and Ollie Marchon, the one of the founders, he was my rugby coach for a few years. And this guy's mad. You know, he is one of the most militant people I've ever met. You know, this is why he looks the way he looks, front cover of Men's Health. He is literally mad. He's mad, and he's got 3 kids. He's got a lovely wife, a happy family. He is doing so well. And his motto for his business is without limits. And the way he described it on a podcast, and there's not too much that I can really like recite word by word, but this is something that's just stuck with me. And he said that every morning you have a choice, and that choice is about a pair of glasses that's on your bedside table. You're the designer of those glasses, and when you put those glasses on, that's how you see your life. That's your perspective. And he sees a life of without limits, and he puts those glasses on every day, and everything is without limits. So being the best father, being the best business owner, being the fittest man for himself, everything is without limits. And this for me is so beautiful, because without him saying it's up to you how you design those glasses. Of course, he was a legend with his branding, you know, saying that without limits is those glasses. But him saying, you know, you design those glasses, that's the truth, you know. You design how you see this world. You design what you want to see. You know, it's sad that a lot of people just see like the horse with the 2 covers on, and you see what you want to see, live how you want to live. Super cool.
Where does Line come from? What's Projekt Line? Like, where does the name come from? Out of it?
Really, really, really nice one for me. It's read between the lines. That's the main kind of motto of it. You know, it's not going to be as easy to universally spread that, just because when you say read between the lines to someone who barely knows English, they're probably not going to understand. But that is the heart of it. That's where it's come from. It's society gives you these steps. Have fun with it and read between the lines. That's where the essence is. That's where the beauty is. That's where the identity is. That's where the passion and purpose is. So yeah, Projekt Line is read between the lines. You want to become right now, you want to become the best barber in 2025. Well, it's not just about cutting hair like this. It's about this. There you go. And then with content creation, or then with marketing, or then with filmmaking, or whatever is next to come. It's the concept of bringing in people who are viewed as successful. The whole community will have people that are successful in what they are doing, and due to consumerism these days, they get looked up to, whether that's followers on Instagram or their portfolio or whatever, and them telling their story, them teaching the truth, the honest truth of how they got to where they got to, instead of like this. It's always like this.
And also the line is as a symbol of anything what we do, like even the line curved of your life is going in a line. Everything what we do as a section is a line. Basically shapes, every shape is created by line. So that was kind of the ideology that a line is basically creating all the things what you do right now. If you film any content, the camera has a frame. The frame is 4 lines together. So everything kind of going together in read between the lines, read what is behind the frames, the shape, the sections, etc., the live curved line. So that's it kind of came up to one decision. So why not line? If you chop your hair, how hair look like a line.
And then Projekt, because we don't want to actually throw ourselves into the world of competition with businesses. Our mission that we've set out is not to compete and prove we're the best brand. No, we want humans to collaborate and share and help each other. So it's a project. It's a community. It's the beginning of a new school system.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like something that comes to mind there is like businesses compete, but brands don't, you know? Like a brand doesn't have to compete, you know, because it attracts people to the people or the brand or the philosophy, and there is no competition there unless it's like healthy competition, you know, like you were talking about. I think like the Latin derivative of competition is to conspire together anyway. It's like if you didn't have it, then nobody would be as far as they are, right? Like you think someone like Cristiano Ronaldo would be the player that he is today if he was the only one playing football? No. And you know, what's really exciting for us and how we continue to kind of grow in life and business is like, as we evolve, like we keep putting ourselves in rooms where we're like way off where other people are. And everything's subjective, right? But like their skill set, the way that they see the world, it's like we thought we were doing good and then we get in a room and we're like, wow. But if I just submitted to like staying in the barbershop in those 4 walls, I would never even know that existed, you know? And it's like there's such a larger world out there for people to like explore, and like so many creative minds, and just
intuitive beings. We're just intuitive in our nature, and that's why it's sad that through boredom and through, you know, the lack of passion and purpose, that people fulfill their boredom and intuitiveness in wrong things, and think that they have to run away from their work by doing this to distract, all this, all that. It's like, no, like Martin said outside, work has never been work. Why the hell should it be? It's a part of life that we know just has to happen, you know, so why harbor resentment against it?
Yeah, it's what we've been taught to believe about what it is though. Like I'm very like resistant to labels in general. Like, you know, your labels will become your limits, and that's the opposite of unlimited. So it's like if you give yourself a label, if you label it as work, you know, often with my partner, she'll be like, oh, I've gotta do work. And it's like, but do you? Like, it's all what you create, you know, it's what you're saying, like your words and what you're saying is, they matter, you know? Like, be careful about how you label things, because that can be your limit. And it's like, I'm in the business of creating a life where all of it feels symbiotic, like it all has a synergy together, it all works together, you know? Because we're taught in the Western world that you go to work, you have your 9 to 5, and then you have your life outside of work, which is creating 2 identities.
Yeah,
like a lot of like 9 to 5ers, like corporate heads, like they put the suit on and they become someone else, and they have to hide who they really are for like 40 hours a week, and then they let fucking loose at the weekend and take MDMA and like go crazy, and I hope nobody in the office sees it, and then they're back to the office again, you know? It's like, what an exhausting way to live.
That's a perfect opportunity for Martin to explain something that I think is extremely,
Oh yeah.
what's the word? Well, it's outside the box, for sure. But it's in the box enough that I've got...
Oh, it's inside of the circle. It's something what I came up probably on the first year of working in my own shop, and the ideology, physiology is called a Monday, and it's a Monday theory.
I've seen it on his stories.
I've been so confused.
People, it's texting me, why you posting have a great Monday on Wednesday?
Confused the shit out of me with that one time because
Still didn't came up with the whole explanation. So this is probably one of the first time.
I'm gonna-
Probably the first. Yeah,
I
thank
believe in
you.
this,
Yeah,
I live by this.
and so as we all know, words are just words. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's just someone came up with this is gonna be the name, or whatever. And as I was working in a shop and I finished my day, so this is where all it comes from. I finished my day with 2 or 3 good people. I was like, wow, I'm kind of actually having a good day, like good energy and I feel good. There was one kind of like a cringe, funny thing, or one of the rappers back home. He was just saying, oh yeah, have a great Monday, as no one likes the Monday, right? It's the first day of work. No one is really like ready to go to 9 to 5, And then I was thinking of, okay, why something which in others people eyes doesn't look good turns into something which can help at least me to move forward. So I start calling every day a Monday. And people are like, why? And I said, if I have a good day, and it doesn't matter what I do, I have a good day. So for me, this is going to be a Monday. So I start calling days Monday. Then I start thinking more about Monday. So Monday is basically the first day of the week. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to start reading, if you want to start doing whatever, what people tells you, I'm going to start on Monday, right? So why not have every single day the opportunity to start doing whatever you want? Reading book, gym, whatever is the opportunity is not in 4 days. The opportunity is tomorrow. And if you really want to do it for yourself, you're going to start tomorrow. That's why the Monday came from. And now what the Monday is just a way of living, just a way of be happy. Be happy from small things. Push yourself, like do something for yourself, do something for your body, move, drink a lot of water. Definition of Monday is basically live your life in a way that on the end of the day, you're gonna sit in your chair and say, yeah, I had a good day. I had a great Monday. And of course, as everything inside, Monday is the day when I progress, when I learn, when I train my body, when I train my mind, when I read, when I journal, whatever I put into my Monday, that this is a day when I'm trying to be happy, I live by that. And as you said, weekends, a holiday. How people are so hyped to wake up in the morning on a day when there's their flight, because they just put their mindset of, tomorrow I'm gonna have a great day, I'm gonna travel somewhere and it's gonna be so excited. Why you not live with this mindset through your life? Why all of a sudden when you have tough mornings, you can wake up at 5 and go with the energy to the airport? You just put something in here, right? So if you can do it one day, you can do it the day after, and the day after, and the day after. If I forgot something, you can add on.
No, it's amazing to hear, actually. I put Martin on the spot a little bit and maybe even risked him doing an injustice to the Monday theory, because for me this actually changed my life. This is one of the things that made me grow so much closer to Martin, and not just see him as a friend, as a brother, but as a mentor. Because the easy things that he said, if you just look at on an energy spectrum how people live their weeks, it is fucking sad, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, crash and burn again. So Monday is, I'm alive, let's go. Then all the things about the next week I'm gonna start, and then I just like pissing people off. Have a good Monday.
Have a great
And they're
Monday.
Like, what is the worst day in the week?
Yeah. Why are you liking
another
it?
one.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why I shouldn't? Well, just because someone told you something. Like, we had this discussion back in Amsterdam, and I like to play with words. Weekend. Something is ending. Why is not a week start? People look at the 2 days when they're off totally different, because if it's weekend and something is ending, obviously on the end something is going slowly down. Even people's energy. That's Sunday. Why Sunday is the most relaxing day? Why is not the day when you really start doing things? Just because someone said it's a weekend, so you end in something. You just want to chill. But these 2 days are for you to really help yourself to do whatever. But again, someone said it's weekend, so give me a beer and I'm just gonna chill over here.
Not reading between the lines, are they?
They're not reading between the lines.
It's all constructs, right? So, and Monday is also a day where you don't do certain things. So you're not lazy, you don't procrastinate, you get doing the stuff that you want to do.
Everyone pushed themselves so much on the start of the week because that's the fresh energy. So if the fresh energy can be there one day, you can basically just copy paste, and you can have Monday on a Thursday. You can have Monday on a Friday. Why not? And that's what confused a lot of people. I'm like, have a great Monday. It's Wednesday. No, it's not. It's a great Monday, bro.
I tell you what's funny, when I saw that in your little like notes thing, we do our coaching calls on Monday. So I was like, I'm after fucking forgetting the call. I was like, they're all on the call and I'm not there.
Too many people have said this.
Oh, so much. Like,
We do a similar one with the GR, like Grand Rising. We don't say good morning to each other because the same thing. We're not morning anything. It's like Grand Rising. It's another sun rising. And the words are important. So Peter Crone speaks about this. He's an amazing psychologist if you want to dig into his work. But he says, you got to be careful of the words that you use, but also the words that use you. Now that's really important too, because he says the same thing as you. He says words, you could break it down, it's just noise. And if you break it down even further, it's hot air. Oh, yeah. Really, if we really reduce it back, it's hot air. Think of the turmoil hot air has caused in this world. Words, it's wild, right? When we really break it down. So he says, be careful of the words that you use, but also be extra careful of the words that use you. And that's the story that's going on in here.
So narratives.
Narrative, exactly.
There's a chapter in a book that I read, it's a psychology book. I can't remember the name of the book, but each chapter had a statement, like a statement on psychology, and then it had the misconception and then the truth. And the statement was narrative bias. The misconception is we live life through rational contemplation. The truth is we live life through narratives that we're selling to ourselves. And that is exactly it. And it ties in completely with you. And like I said, when we were off camera, after years in Amsterdam, I'm so happy that I got into note making. I'm so happy that I got into journaling on whatever spectrum that may have been. But I came away from Amsterdam now in a funny way of just, I need to close that book because I've digged so deep into the words and then turned to Martin who's like, I hate words.
Amongst all of it, like one of my first coaches, like he passed away a few months ago, completely changed my life. But sometimes he used to just say something like, along the lines of, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, and like we can go deep with all of it, but it's like, but sometimes a word is just a word, or a cigar is just a cigar. Like, and we can leave it at that sometimes. Not everything has to become crystals, But then that also has a lot of relevance and means a lot of stuff too. So I think we try to live somewhere in the middle,
Yeah. I mean, for me was when it comes, for example, to religion. It's like people having wars and fights for religions, and on the end, it doesn't matter if you're religion or not. You just have to have something as a purpose, of living, of the faith of something. Either it's like energy-wise, gods, whoever it is. All of them were created ages ago when if you lived by the sea, you had a god of a sea. If you lived in a woods, you have god of the trees. But all of them were just be good human, do good things, and don't hurt anyone. Right? It's like very simple. For me, I never really deep down any religion because for me I'm not interested into, and somehow I came like, I'm just gonna create my own. Like, why not? I'm just gonna have something what I wanna live for, live by, and that just turns into Mondays. And it's kind of, have some sort of religion things of, of course I pray, but I don't pray for God. I don't pray for anything. I pray for myself, for energy, for gratitude, for people, for blessings. So it's kind of have pieces, but in the end, it doesn't matter. As you said, there's just words, right? But just the inside of, I just want to spread good. I just want to feel good. I just want to live a life that on the end, I'm going to sit in my chair and be okay that I'm going to die because I live a good life, And it doesn't matter what was the engine behind, even when it was a Christianity or Hinduism and Buddhism, whatever. It's just got me to the point when I can say, it all makes sense, it was worthy, and I'm happy to live and leave,
It's living the life that's worth it, It's like you want to leave it all on the field, but not at all costs, I think, is also a good way to live, Know when enough is enough. Yeah. And that usually is when somebody else is getting hurt or you're not contributing energetically, like in a positive way towards people around you or the world. It's like, I'll leave it all on the field. I'll go all in on something, but not at all costs. Like, a lot of people build amazing businesses and strive to be the best at cutting hair or whatever, but lose everything else in the meantime. Like they have all the money, but everything else is just destroyed and on fire in the background,
For sure, man. You just come back around to something I wanted to say earlier, that this guy does crazy things sometimes. And at one moment he decided to write personal plans for every team member in Men's Wear Amsterdam. I think it was something like 20, maybe 20 or
17 personal
plans.
social media plans.
Social media and kind of life
personal,
plans. And Martin turns to me and goes, do you want me to write one for you? And it was very like at the start, like, yeah, I don't really need to, but and then he decided himself, no, I'm going to, all right. And he writes me this plan, and this is when Martin's English was terrible.
It's still not the best, right?
Oh no, this was god awful. Like if I read it to you, you would laugh. Like it's I struggle to narrate it and read it out. But one part of this plan that he put in there, for me, hit home. I'm sure it'll hit home to yourself because we always speak about the sport and the going all in. It was, Charlie, how can you expect yourself to hydrate and kind of refresh from an empty cup of water? And that cup of water that you are drinking from to fuel your business or your passion or your all in is from other things, because life is, it's like you can do whatever. And under that he wrote, when was the last time you went surfing? When was the last time you played the piano? When was the last time you truly dedicated yourself to fitness? When was the last time you went to see your family? When was the last time you took yourself to a restaurant on your own? These are the things, Charlie, that are going to fill your empty cup of water to allow you to drink and to fuel yourself for your main business, your main passion. And I think that's something that as business owners and whoever also is listening, go all in by all means, but trust me, there's a bit of a dead end if you go too all in, and that's what we just said about the throwing in the towel. Know when you need to refuel.
I'd love to add to that. There's a thing that I wanted to share this with you the other day, but I was like, I'm going to keep this for the podcast. And I was like, I hope it comes up. So my coach, Kerwin, he had this thing where he used to say, when you enter into like business, essentially what you're doing is you're becoming like a professional athlete, right? So he used to have this concept of like a professional business athlete. But in business, what a lot of people do is they compete 6-7 days a week. So when you're on the barbershop floor, let's use the barbershop as an example, you're competing, you're not training, you're in competition. Like that's game day, that's when you're on full energy, like gotta give it to everyone. But if you look at a professional athlete, they go all in, but they also know when to fill their cup back up. They know when to re-energize. You know, he used to always talk about tennis. He's like, you think if Roger Federer was feeling absolutely fucked on a Thursday and he had the biggest competition of his life on the Sunday, that he'd just keep going? He'd know better and he'd just take 2 or 3 days off and then go to the competition and probably win. So it's like when we enter into business, we become professional business athletes. But how many people do you know dedicate time to training, dedicate time to rest and recovery? If you look at an athlete's, like how they spend their year, they probably spend a very small percentage of that year actually competing versus how much time they spend training and resting and recovering. It's probably like 10% competition, like, or 20% competition maybe, and then 40% in the other categories. So why do people in business not do the same thing? And it's like, fuck.
That's something one can continue on. I spoke with someone recently, I don't know if it's we or taking a time off. And that's kind of going on with the relationship and whatever. It's like you're scared to do a step back, to do 2 forward. Like your battery is almost empty and you still want to run the marathon. That's not going to happen. We have to, as the athletes, they cannot, as let's say runners, they cannot run every single day. They had to have these 2 days as a recharge to going on. And as a businesses, people are like, yeah, I have to run, no, just take time off. If you are in, let's say, a creative industry or any industry, and you want to elevate your business, you have to get new ideas, right? Where are these new ideas coming from? They're not coming from when you're going to sit 16 hours behind your laptop. They're going to come and you're going to sit in your garden, drink apple juice, and look at the sky, and then I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I can maybe do this. And that's what people kind of forgot, and that's, I think, is the biggest burnout for people, that they were just taught you have to go all. No, you have to go 80, take 20, and then you can go another 80. So in the end, it's 160.
Totally. And like that, coming from my background, like I can really resonate. Like when Corwin said that, I was like, oh yeah, like I used to do that, and now I don't do it anymore. I used to really prioritize recovery. Like when I was cycling, I used to spend more time on my bike than on my feet. I barely walk, you know? I was riding a bike more than I was walking. So you just don't see that happen, particularly in the hair industry. People are non-stop behind the chair, and it's like, I have this saying, and it's like, to barbershop owners and barbers in general, it's like, guys, if you're always on the tools, you'll always be on the tools. And you got to give yourself the space and the time to be creative and to like come up with new ideas, expand your skills in other areas.
Even when it comes to questions like, where are the inspirations coming from? The inspiration is not getting in my head in a shop when I'm behind the chair. The inspiration is there when I'm on my day off or after work and I have 4 hours to cut one haircut, so I can just sit down, 20 minutes just look at my model and like, maybe this, maybe that, and let's try. And I can spend an hour of training, and then on the end of the training I'm going to say, maybe I can change this and that. So I'm taking the time for myself. I'm basically resting and training in one time.
Enjoy.
And exactly, enjoy the process,
Just having space.
that time, that calm, that I know that there is not another guy sitting on a sofa who is going to jump in after, because I have totally everything just for myself.
Now, in saying all this, I definitely need to do a better job of this myself. Like I still work like a lot, you know, and like it's out of choice, but I could do is giving myself more space, because I regularly feel a lot of like overwhelm, right? But if you think about the most innovative hair person in the world ever to exist, Vidal Sassoon, right? Doesn't the story go that he came up with the whole cutting theory by like sitting on a bench and looking at the roof of buildings?
Bauhaus.
Bauhaus was like he was in architecture, and from architecture it just happened.
And I think it was Amsterdam. If you guys watch a documentary, it's a fascinating documentary. He goes to his favorite bench in Amsterdam, and he sits there and he said, I used to sit here as a young boy and I used to look between those two buildings there, and he said one day they put a new building there. And he was like, and I saw the way they crossed each other, and I thought, I wonder if I could do that on the hair. It was born. Geometry on hair.
One thought
There you
away.
go. Yeah. So I'm going to bring the woo-woo in here, so prepare yourselves. But what this reminds me of, hold on. Hold on to your crystals. You grab some crystals if you can.
Armbands on. Armbands on.
Where?
But what it reminds me of is like, I studied like a bit of holistic health as well alongside hair, and what it reminds me of is like, we're obsessed with like separateness and like isolation in this world, and nothing on this planet exists in isolation. That's like a huge thing, and they speak about this big idea of like the initial wound, right? What was a human's initial wound? Was the day that we decided we're separate. The day that we decided we're separate, not from each other, but from nature itself. So since then we've been obsessed with separateness. And even if you look in the dictionary, English dictionary, the definition of nature is everything that isn't human. Crazy, right? So from that wound stems everything we've spoken about to this point. We think we can isolate. We think we can be separate. But we're not learning our lesson very well. We think we could just go all in on this thing, and everything that you guys have just spoken about there, it all exists in one big connected, holistic thing, or whatever word you want to use. We need a bit of time for go, and we need a bit of time for rest, and we need a bit of time for introspection and training in this, because we're all part of a bigger picture. And I know that it's the most cliche woo-woo thing in the world, but it's one of the most realist truths ever. The day we decided that we're separate is the day we just got obsessed with this separateness and isolation. And that's why I love, it really reminded me of that, what you guys doing, community. I think that's why the communities and like things like that are becoming so strong now, because we're realizing, like Owen said, that critical thinking, is it working? Well, it's clearly not working what we're doing, is it? Is in the grand scheme, we look to the Western world of men, but let's just use barbers. Are they getting happier, more delightful and healthier? No, they're getting sicker, sadder and more broke. It's not working, is it? So like, I just, that really reminded me of that. There's been an initial wound somewhere, and it's when we decided we were separate, when we thought we could do separate things. You see it everywhere. You see it in health. Like, you get vitamin D in a fucking jar. Where's vitamin D on its own in the world? Nowhere. Even when it comes from the sun, it comes with a bunch of other shit. Vitamin C that's not the only thing in an orange. It comes with all this stuff. We have this weird obsession with like isolation and separateness, and I think it's just completely destroying us.
No, but knowing graduation is going to be the thing that changes everything for me. Knowing how to do a layer is going to change my life,
Have you not given him more crystals?
He won't take them. Get them away from me.
It's what's missing. I should have known it all
but
along.
that's, I think that.
You know what though, like, I think, again, sat diagonally, what's going on here? It's a funny thing, because I think all of us are very similar on a lot of things, and then there are definitely some quite prominent differences between kind of you guys and us, and that's also the amazing part about humans is the collaborative part. You can always learn from the person next to you. Martin, a lot of the way he does what he does, my intuition is just like, oh no, like, oh, that's too fluid, or oh, that's too fluid. I call him the boy with colourful tattoos. That's all I call him, like, most of the time. But then there's definitely times for extreme kind of competitiveness and drive and like, let's go get this. And that's something that we work in such a beautiful synergy with our business. A lot of the things that I do or the things that Martin does, we don't even speak about. We don't need to, because we've come to, on a real deep friendship level and understanding on a business level, what our strengths and weaknesses are. And I'm sure it comes down to you guys.
That would be different for you guys too, you know? Like how long have you been in business together now? Or like knowing each other, kind of
working side by side 3 years.
I would say two and something, because the first,
we didn't have words.
I mean, we couldn't speak to each other, so my level of English wasn't there. So first half a year we not really spoke, and then so it's probably something more than 2.
It was feelings, it was energy.
But I mean, actually, to be honest, yes, because if I look at like my life on just a big broad picture, I'm someone who always has a lot of people around me, but I think like quite a lot of people can quite often feel quite lonely and have all the people around you, but be kind of maybe searching for more, seeking for more. And if I look at the people who have been like kind of side by side, like the kind of, let's say, the ride or die, they're the people I look up to the most. And there's been 2, 3 maybe in my life. Martin being someone who's still there and will be there for a very, very long time, I'm sure. And that's because of things that didn't need words to communicate. It was my intuition and my what we spoke about earlier. Humans are just intrigued kind of beings, and me seeing how Martin worked and Martin did the things that he did, it made me like, oh, fucking hell, like, who's this creative boy?
Crystals.
What's this guy doing? And it's probably similar how you guys were, because we could easily sit here and I'm sure we would do the best together. We would go through the roof, smash every competition out of the way, you're not going to stop me. But then there'll probably be a bit of a hinder in that, you know. Whereas it's really cool, again, being sat opposite you two guys, you know, a little bit older than us, a little bit more experienced, definitely in the space that we're going into now. But it's quite cool to see the synergy.
Yeah, we've known each other for 8 years now, so this is like our 8th year, like working together and knowing each other, and we're still getting to know each other on a daily basis. You know? And we've changed a lot too in that time. You know, like we've been in and out of different companies, like had different companies together, different parts of our like relationship, and like going through like deep healing and trauma and like all sorts of stuff. Like it's been a crazy journey, but
and it's so interesting. Like, I love how you pick up, like there are similarities. I think this is where you guys connect on probably more of a life and personality level, but there's I see there's a curiosity about you, which I have, which is what I had with Owen, because here's I am. When I met Owen, I think I was doing hair 12 years. He was doing it 2 years. Dude's on a global stage for Andis. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? Like any other person in my situation would have been like, who the fuck is this guy? But I was like, let me get close to this guy, because there's clearly something I'm not seeing, clearly, right? And that I think that's a beautiful thing. It's like it's that curiosity, and that's, I think, you know, we all share that curiosity. But I used to say in the classes all the time, I'm like, you know, Owen is the epitome of like, don't believe a word anybody says. Like, you want to challenge any norm, like this guy's done it. You know, it's like in the shortest amount of time I've ever seen, he's done everything you can ever want to do in the hair world, you know. So,
and I think what works well for us is like, you know, we spoke about the art and the science of pricing in Amsterdam. That was the name of our show, and like our relationship is very art and science. It's like emotion and logic, right? Like I bring a lot of like art and emotion to the relationship and to the business, where I'm just like, this is what we're fucking doing, and like we're going all in, and Lee's a bit more like logic and kind of like science.
It's funny, like when you said that, like some things Owen says, I'm like, in my head I'm like, we can't do that, surely not. Surely. And he's like, this is hard. No, we're those people. I'm like, all right, here we go. Like,
I don't know about you, but do you ever have like the imposter syndrome of like really passionately speaking about something and thinking, what is Lee thinking right now? I hope I haven't completely crossed the line. No, there must have been. I always have this like moment where I'm like, Martin must be thinking right now, like, what the fuck is Charlie on about?
I think he is gone completely mad. Yeah.
I was like,
I think that keeps the spice in the relationship, actually.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go on stage at events, and like, I've always pushed the boundaries a little bit. Like, I'll say something that maybe I shouldn't have said, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And it's like, I know in my head, like, I'm just trying to picture, like, I wonder what Lee thinks of that. Because I know he'll think it's funny. But like,
He's so calm, mate. It doesn't matter really. But
but I'll push it to the point where, but I think it loosens people up too, you know? Like, I think when we're in at these shows and like, everyone's just fucking tense, and then it's like, all right, guys, you can relax a little bit. Like, this is all fucking made up. Like,
it literally is, part.
and like, that can be relatable to people. And like, I think that's something that in the chair, in the barbershop, I was always really good at, was like relating to the person in the chair and like actually building a good connection with them and making them feel comfortable. And that's like my goal whenever I present or whenever I do stuff with our clients or whatever it is. It's like, I just want to make the room feel comfortable, because I know when people feel comfortable, they can actually open up and like learn and like, and sometimes it's through humor, you know, I can go deep too, like, but yeah, there's definitely times where I push the boat out a little bit and say some stuff that's a bit wild. But
like Big Penny Social, that we met you guys, he's standing on stage going, you may think I'm full of shit, but blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, fuck, I'm gonna have to fight someone after this. My God, like, you know, here we are. It's our first time back in the UK for years, and he's like, you may think I'm full of shit, but I'm telling the truth.
You afterwards just walk around the audience with a tray of crystals, like, it's okay, guys, everything's okay.
Crystals, lads.
I could see the little whispers going on and like the this and the that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I was just like, guys, you might think I'm full of shit standing up here, but like, you can believe what you want. Whatever you believe, it's going to be your truth, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll say it. I'll just say the stuff that other people won't say. Like when we did this thing with our coaching group, Damo was in on it as well, and we run projects for them like every 6 weeks, and we had a project called Projekt Brandwidth, and it's about like, how bingeable are you? How wide does your brand actually go? Like, what do people know you for, right? And I did it under the good session, so we have these things that we call under the good, spin on under the hood, where it's like somebody does something great and we all kind of see how they did it, right? So for me, it was like, how did I build brand? And how did I do what I did in a short space of time? And when the first question, or one of the first questions we opened up with was like, when you think of me, what do you think of? And like, the words that were coming in were like, it was awesome, like, to hear this from our clients, you know. And a couple of them were like unhinged and like unfiltered and like all of these words where it's just like, you don't know what's coming next, you know. And like, that's pretty cool, because to me that speaks to me being in like my authenticity, and like, I'm very big on the fact that like, whether I'm here or whether I get out of bed in the morning or wherever I am, like, I'm the same person, you know. Like, whether you put me on the stage as a Big Penny Social, I don't give a fuck like how many people are there. Like, I'll say what I want to say and what I need to say, and nobody can tell me otherwise, because I wasn't a fan of school either. I didn't like being told what to do, or, you know, quieting your thoughts. And like, if I feel like I can bring value to a room, I will. Never in a way that it will like put me in danger.
Yeah.
Maybe that day was
It,
like,
it comes from a
close as
place
it
of love, ultimately, right? Like, it's linked back to purpose. Like, I'm here to serve. So the most loving thing I can do right now is to, you know,
tell the truth.
It's such a tough balance. Like, any creative, and you hear it. I say creative because you hear it mainly in the creative spaces. I find I laugh to myself when people truly say, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. I'm like, sorry mate, you do.
yeah.
Don't lie to yourself. And second of all, that's not nice, and you don't mean that. But the balance is, you must have the confidence to not be insecure, and not be insecure when you have value. And that's where you step in. And I believe it's because you've transitioned from the high intensity background of exercise, where you have to dig that deep, and cycling as well. It's just repetitive. And, oh Jesus Christ, where's your inspiration from? You know, it's tough. And then to go into a world of barbering where it's so overcomplicated. Cycling, how do you win? Train harder, eat better, rest better. Barbering, how do you become the best? Buy 100 million courses and then maybe. And that's probably why in the barbering world, I would say you come on stage and you have that innate feeling. And I started to have it in the end of teaching in Amsterdam, like watching the videos, and I mentioned it yesterday. I'm so happy I can see clearly, like, my intentions were still there, of course, to serve, but my enjoyment was not necessarily as much there, because I really wanted to push people, like, it's not that difficult, guys. Come on. So it's this fine balance.
But I love to teach next to Charlie because it's crazy energy. You know, like I remember first time we step on a stage and he just went brr, 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 brr. And I was like, what the fuck? What I'm gonna talk about? It was like a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, like crazy. And I was like, wow, what the fuck?
Turn it on. You can turn it on when you need to.
Then I have to push myself, and I would say like the one thing which in any relationship is the life energy what people have, how they present, how they live. And that's something what I love on him is the energy, how he lives a life and how he's just going and smashing, and probably because of the rugby, of the background sport of you have to go and you have to just break everything. But with the awareness of how smart he's everything doing, what's the psychology behind, it's just amazing to work next to each other. And probably as you is like a yin and yang, like opposites always kind of coming together. And even we are like that. There's like a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of things we are kind of like a separate, aware. And that was funny. We spoke about, we had thousands of conversations, and then I was like, yeah, I learned from you a lot. I was like, what do you mean? How you can learn from me? I learned from you. I was like, no, Charlie, I learned from you a lot, you know. And I would say that's probably from you too as well, which is still kind of like keeping you together, is constantly learning from each other, helping getting to know each other and find okay, yes, this is the right person next to me. I really want to do these things because
Rare, right? And it's
find something like that. It's like finding your wife. Once you find your wife, you feel it. And this is for me something which, again, the words cannot express.
Crystal boy.
But find a business partner kind of feels the same. You know, like I knew it. Since we kind of connect and start talk to it, I was like, wow, yeah, this is definitely a person who I want to work with, because the life energy is insane.
And I think the willingness as well from both parties, right? Like, I actually don't think it serves people to be like the same.
No.
You know?
No.
Like, unless the willingness is there.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And I love that quote, and maybe this is just a nice way to wrap it up, but like, you know, they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend your time around. It's that there's actually a different level of that quote. You're the average of the 5 people that you want to impress.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm gonna come from the other way around, because the 5 people, you're not the reflection of the 5 people around you. The 5 people around you is a reflection of yourself, because they are connected with you because who you are. Do you think that people as a business minded will be sit next to a table with someone who is not like them? No, because that's not their reflection, you know. So the person who you are is not because you're 5 people around. The person who you are is because who you built for yourself, and that is reflecting of your 5 people around.
It's all yin and yangs.
It's a mirror, you know.
It's all 2 sides to it.
Absolutely, everything's got duality, and like there's a coach we follow, and he says this is what he's like. You're a reflection. Your clients are a reflection of you. That's what he says. And it's like same thing in a coaching capacity, same thing in whatever. It's like if you got negative clients who are just fucking non-stop problems, it's a reflection of where you're at, for the good and for the bad, right? So like that's giving you an opportunity to change it too.
Of course, and then that's when the other side of the coin is, again, you're a reflection of your clients. Yeah. I repeated over and over again and kept saying to myself and writing in my book, the best teacher is the best student. And that is the honest truth of it, because teaching is a humbling, most beautiful opportunity to learn how to serve, learn how your serving, you know, benefits others. And I'm so blessed I started that at such a young age. Like 18 I started teaching, and that's when my most interesting thing in life for me is human psychology. I care so much about people, and I'm so intrigued by that, and it's driven like so deep into it, definitely through kind of seeking approval and, you know, small insecurities here and there, but it's a blessing. Definitely is a blessing.
Boys, I think that was an awesome conversation.
Beautiful conversation.
We've been all. I know.
What else you got?
Are you really finished?
Yeah.
What are we gonna open?
Boys, time. What is the time?
What's the time?
Time's an illusion, I thought.
Time only exists in Arabic.
This is just some numbers. Just something flowing around.
You said about Monday? I don't know.
Unlimited. Sorry, what?
Keep going.
We can
going.
go.
But I'm
I'm
sure,
here till Monday.
I'm sure it won't be the last time, right? Like, it's
Minutes away from each other.
exactly. How cool is that?
Yeah.
It's really crazy, man, because like I feel like there's so many similarities and things that we align on and like correlations, and the more we go into the depths of it, like I knew it from the day we met you guys. I was like, fuck, we're actually kind of like those guys, and they're like us.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of.
They had the same conversation in the train. Yeah.
It's like
Someone stitched us up. Like, yeah. What?
sure. I was like, surely not. Surely
Yeah. They just drop these people in. Right, you're going to do that.
So
Yeah.
separation at birth, we'll call it,
Yeah.
or at birth. See what I did there?
I see what you did there, sir. That's why.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure to have you guys.
Yeah, thanks for
have a
thanks
good
for joining
chat.
us.
for organising this beautiful
Oh yeah,
space.
it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, look, just another day in the life, you know.
How crazy is to say that, right?
Kind of, like, and it can be for anyone else too who just reaches out and actually wants to grab it, you know,
Take a look at that hat.
Yes, sir.
baby. But yeah, guys, I look forward to seeing where everything goes for you guys, and I wish you all the best.
Fuck's sake. Sometimes I was speaking too much, probably. Seeing each other on a paddle court.
Yeah, see you on Sunday.
Yes,
Amazing.
absolutely.